Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 493 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for listening. As I often do, because I read a lot, I read something today that brought tears to my eyes because it speaks to something I think we can all relate to. And here's what it said. I hope you don't long for the things you've outgrown just because they're familiar. I hope you don't consider everything you lose to be a loss. And I hope you let yourself do more than you ever thought you could. Isn't that beautiful? You see, we were all born into this world with the ability to be great. I believe that we were. And sometimes in our pursuit of greatness, though, we have to step away from things that feel familiar. Remember, your brain is always trying to keep you safe, but stepping out of your comfort zone, that's where all the growth is. Your brain is going to tell you to stay because it feels familiar, but familiar doesn't always mean it's right. It does mean it's easy and comfortable, but it doesn't mean it's right. If you're too comfortable, how do you grow? How do you reach your full potential without growth? We have to be willing to get out of our comfort zone. We have to be willing to move forward. One little step at a time is all it takes. So what are you doing that grows you? What are you doing that makes you better? In a world filled with easy dopamine, we've got to be so careful that we don't get complacent and lazy, because those words, they don't coincide with being wildly successful. We have to work to be our best selves every single day, and that starts from within. I remember when I first started in interior design and I needed so much confirmation from other people that my designs were good or that what I was doing was beautiful and on target and in style. And I thought, oh, if I could only win this award or get this magazine, then I'll finally feel like I'm successful or that I'm a good designer. And then I won the awards and I got published in the magazine. And like 3 minutes later, I thought, nope, that wasn't it. That's not doing it. Now I need more. I need this thing. I need this award. What I realize now that I did not realize then, that I was searching for something outside of me to make me feel worthy and successful and good about myself and like I was a person that other people could respect, when all I really needed was to go inside and figure out that I'm already worthy. And as long as I love and respect myself, I'm going to attract that people that love and respect me back. Now, I'm not always perfect. I still want confirmation that my designs are good, of course, but I don't need it. I still would love to have a certain number of podcast listeners, but I don't need it anymore. I would love it, but I don't need it. I know now that everything I need is actually within me. All the worthiness, all the love, all the peace comes from within. Nothing external is going to fill that. Nothing and no one. And I learned that because I started meditating, journaling. I was studying and trying to understand the Stoics. I realized I'm not broken and I don't need something outside of me to feel anything real, because it's not. The only real things are the things that no one can take from me unless I allow it. And that has made me better. Not perfect, just more in line with myself. More stable, because everything always comes back to me. If I'm not working on being the best I can be, it's so easy to be offended. It's so easy to get angry. If we aren't careful, we can think we're broken because we can't seem to handle hard things, when the opposite is true. We can handle anything as long as we have our own back. And you do that by working on your mindset every single day, by listening to podcasts like mine, journaling, meditating, spending time in nature. And it can be for as little as 5 minutes a day to start with. But it really makes a huge difference in how your life goes and how you respond to things that happen in your life. A few days ago, I was at a countertop slab company, and I was there marking specific sections of a slab for the backsplash and the islands that were going in a client's kitchen. And that's a really big deal, and I really wanted it to be right. Now, the slabs are heavy and they were set up outside, and it was windy and it was cold, and the slabs are heavy and cumbersome, and it takes big machinery to move them around. And on top of that, we met about right at an hour before going home time. So it was kind of close to going home time. And these guys helping me were not loving how particular I was being. But that's my job. That's my job, is to get the best, absolute best product and look for my client. And that's what I was there to do. And they were outwardly annoyed to the point where at one point I was getting annoyed too. And I could feel my frustration rising, where I thought, you know what? If they have something more important to do, I can find more slabs elsewhere and they can keep their attitudes. I mean, I was 2 seconds away from saying that. I actually felt it coming out of my mouth, but I stopped. And I thought, you know what? Okay, just take a second. And so I stepped away for just a second and acted like I was looking at my paper. And I thought, I don't know what their day looked like. I don't know what's going on in their personal life. It's cold. It's windy. They don't want to be out here. Neither do I. It's almost dinner time. Maybe they didn't eat lunch. So I kind of chuckled to myself. And as I stepped back into where we were all working, I made a little bit of a joke with them, and it lightened the air. And we got exactly what we needed done because I didn't lose my cool. I got exactly the portions of the slab that I wanted marked perfectly. But I was really close to having to go spend another week or two trying to find more slabs, and then going through this whole thing again and delaying the project, all because my ego was about to get in the way. But I didn't let it. I was willing to look at the situation from a different perspective, only because I had read that. Just that same morning, I had read about how anger can control us and how it makes things so much worse. And I was about to let that happen. But because I had been reading that, it made me aware of my thoughts. How valuable was that in that moment? If I hadn't been aware of my thoughts, I could have blown the deadline for that project with just one sentence, and it was right at the tip of my tongue. Instead, there was one sentence that I had read that morning that saved me because I memorized it. It made such an impact on me. I memorized it. And here's what the sentence was that I had read. It was this: I am angry, but I'm willing not to be. I'm willing to see this situation from a different perspective. You see, a lot of times when we're angry, we just lose control. But if you can catch yourself and recognize, don't lie to yourself and say, well, I'm not angry about it. Don't do that, because now you're not doing yourself any favor or anybody else. Acknowledge that you're angry, but also be willing not to be, and be willing to see the situation from a different perspective. Thank goodness I had read that. It stopped me from letting my ego get in my way. That sentence made me better the whole week. If we aren't growing, we aren't going to reach our full potential. My challenge to you this week is to ask yourself what you're doing daily to make yourself better. It has to be daily so that it counteracts the things that bring us down. I mean, we think we're adults and we should have it all figured out, but that doesn't take into account that the world is changing rapidly. And we have to rise to the occasion in order to reach our full potential. And that work has to be internal, and it has to be consistent. You were born worthy. That's a God-given right. But being great takes work, and that work has to be done from the inside out. Share this with 3 people who are on their way to being great. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days.
Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.